Okay. Okay. So those were the positive results. Michael or Jansen, can you think of anything in addition? That's all I had listed. No? Okay.
Oh, is Michael's mic not working either?
His was working. Michael?
I'm here, but I can't. You keep cutting out.
There you go.
All right. Shoot, Melody, it might just be between the two of us.
I'm gonna try the audio. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, Michael.
Okay, so sorry, what was your question?
Okay, the first question was the positive results of the program, and we went over that. Now I want to ask you why there were positive results. What were the reasons for the positive results?
I think one of the reasons was just to kind of help people communicate with different types of people in their, in their company. Because one thing that stuck out to me was one of the mentors was mentoring someone who was was in school, utilizing their tuition reimbursement program, and the mentor had always wanted to, but had never taken classes. And so I know, meeting with her mentee, she decided to start taking online class. Maybe they weren't online, but she started taking college classes, and she was really glad that she did. So I think just, communicating with people that you wouldn't normally communicate with was a big bonus.
That's true, Jansen. It was voluntary, which was great. So other reasons why it was such a positive thing was possibly because of Rubenstein's involvement, how any kind of conflicts between the mentor and mentee was sorted through. If there were managers that weren't supportive of the mentee getting that extra time to go and meet with the mentor, she got involved and kind of fixed that for them. The matching process I thought was really above and beyond. That's not something I would have thought of. That's another reason why it says that it was so positive, and why they had so many good results. Okay, anybody have anything else to add? All right. How did the reasons or causes for success result in success? Which ones are the most important? Are there any of them specific to the bank, or would they work with any other organization? I thought that was a great question.
Yeah, that was confusing. Say, what was that again?
Okay, it's asking, how did these reasons or causes for success result in success? Which we're not going to answer that one. We're going to move on. Which ones are the most important? Again, we're not answering that one because it's a ridiculous question. We're going to move on to, are any of them specific to the bank, or would they work in other organizations? I'd love your ideas on that.
I personally think they would kind of work anywhere. I mean, it's not like only a bank can match people up, or that other companies wouldn't benefit from a program like this. So I can't see why it would be bank specific.
Michael, do you have any opinion on that?
Yeah, I don't think it matters. I think the bank had a lot of good programs within it that maybe a lot of the other companies wouldn't have. I don't know what, maybe some other companies wouldn't have the tuition reimbursement. And so maybe benefits that the bank has, I don't think it would matter what business, as long as they did have the same benefits. But if they didn't, I do think it would be just specific to the bank because of the benefits they provide to their employees.
Yeah, you and Jansen are on the same page. I agree. There's nothing that's bank specific, but I do think it's going to have to be a large organization to have that much organization with it. Do you, like a smaller organization, a smaller business wouldn't work.
Right.
Because, I mean, it took a lot of manpower to do all the profiling, get the matches, do all the training, do the circle training or the circle mentoring. That was just, it was a lot. It was a lot. And you've got to have a lot of funding for something like that. A lot of money went into that, went into paying them for training and 4 hours a month where they, you know, just to try to help them to be better. But that was a lot of time, and I don't know.
I agree. I agree.
I agree too.
Agree too. I try to relate everything to the Bus Barn, and I think that the mentor program is a great idea as far as when you're a brand new driver, if you're paired up with a veteran driver or a trainer, somebody that you can go talk to when things happen with the kids and you don't know what to do or you don't think you made the right choice in a certain situation. I kind of clung to my trainer even though he didn't really like it. I would go and jump on his bus after I got off my route and I would just talk to him. And that wasn't something that they offered me or they really wanted me to do, but he was a terrific trainer and I knew that he would give me the right answers and he would calm me down about what had happened. And he is still, I consider him my big brother, the Bus Barn. So I think that it could work in any business, but as far as the organization of it, the extra things that they did, not just a mentor, somebody you can go talk to, it was literally regulated, so overly regulated as far as this is how many hours you're going to spend, then you're going to go to this, then you're going to go to this, then you're going to go to this, and you're all this training information. And it seemed, what do you think? Am I way off?
No, I don't think so. I mean, yeah, you can get a mentor anywhere, but as far as just like you said, the organization of gathering applicants and lining them up, and yeah, you have to be a bigger organization.
I think it truly showed a lot of commitment by the new CEO to really teach I loved how it wasn't just the new employees. It wasn't them at all. It was people that had been there for a little while and hadn't really done much with where they've been for a while or whatever it was. For some reason, they felt like they could use a mentor. What did you think about that?
I agree completely. It talked about someone who'd been there, I think, 28 years, but didn't really utilize, the benefits that the bank had. And then it was after that that they kind of better understood. So I agree that, it helped everyone, not just the people who, were new hires, but people who had been there probably their whole lives.
Yep.
And I think another good thing about it, I'm a very friendly person. And I like to learn to know everybody and get to know. I mean, I will just walk into my room at the Bus Barn in the break room, and if there's somebody sitting there or standing there that I haven't met yet, I approach immediately. Hi! Oh my gosh, I haven't met you yet. And I talk to them. I think in the bank setting, with everyone having their own offices, cubicles, I think a lot of them didn't know each other. So this was an opportunity for you and your mentor or mentor and mentee to meet each other's coworkers and friends as they were meeting and really increase your networking base as far as friendships in the company.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that actually wasn't mentioned. I think that would, for me, that would be key for me. I'd be like, oh my gosh, now I know them. And, okay. Okay, so it can work in any organization that's big enough to do all those things, and then maybe a smaller organization to a certain extent, I think is what we agreed on.
Yeah.
Okay. How can mentoring help employees with career development?
I think we've already answered that a little bit. I mean, like the one lady who went back to school, or people who got promotions. Just the more you can learn, and everybody has different viewpoints and different job skills, and so the more skills and things you can learn from other people, just the better it's going to help you.
Do you remember the story about the lady who had an arts background and was very creative, and she was kind of feeling kind of stagnant, but her mentor she got hooked up with because of their good matching system also was creative and artsy, and ended up helping her to get into human resources where she could use some of that creativity. So I think that was like the supreme example of career development. It kind of helped her to find her place.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. I think it really helps with, networking within the company, because it says that 7 out of the 25 mentees, received promotions within the first year.
Yeah.
So I don't think that was all just by, learning. I think it was all about people in higher positions learning who, the newer people were, and understanding, oh, they have a lot to bring to the table. And so I think it helped them network within the company to, get a raise or a promotion.
Yeah, also I find that if I know somebody's kind of keeping an eye on me, I up my game. I get more invested because I know they're invested in me. So that could have also, played a part as far as, developing their careers, as they knew that somebody was kind of checking in on them and actually kind of cared about how they were doing and what they were doing. So I would put in probably a little bit more if I knew that that was the case, so I could report back positive things.
Yeah.
So have any of you guys had an experience with mentoring, either formal, informal, being a mentor, being a mentee, in your own companies or in the places that you've worked? And if you have, if you could share any benefit, obstacle, downside to it?
I have. So the job I worked for was, I was an equipment operator. And so anytime we get a new hire, for them to be able to run a piece of equipment, they have to have, like a week's training inside the equipment with someone in there with them. And so there's a few times when I would, spend a week with someone all day, just showing them how to run a piece of equipment, and then let them, take the reins, and then teaching them as they're doing it about, how to do it correctly and safely. And it was good for, both sides, for me and the person, because it helped me remember, okay, this is how it's done. This is how you do it safely. And for them, because, it helps to learn. So I think it benefits both parties.
Yeah, it's the same with any kind of teaching job, right? I mean, when you're in the church teaching, even teaching primary, you learn something every week, or you're reminded of things that you thank you so much. Mom, you already told me the B word. Okay, hold on. Guys, I'm in class.
She's joking.
Okay.
He called me the B word.
All right. Would a less than formal mentoring program be better with the mentees, with them being free to go to whatever mentor they can find? Would that help their careers more than someone being assigned to them, do you think?
I don't think so. I think if you were able to choose your mentor, you're just going to choose somebody that you already know or friends with. And then it just makes it more easy to say, hey, I've got stuff going on. We don't need to meet. We're fine. I think having it more formal makes you a little bit more accountable for things. It makes you work just a little bit harder.
I like that. Michael, you have or Jansen, you have anything on that? Do you agree with the formality that the bank used, or do you think that the informal approach might be a good thing as well?
I agree with Melanie. I mean, I've done it, you know, it's kind of, I think we've all probably had that experience where if we have the choice, we pick someone that we know, someone that we're comfortable with, and so we don't ever get outside of our comfort zone. And we probably get less from the actual program because we're not pushed. I think they did the right thing where, you know, I think they should be assigned.
Yeah,
rather than having to choose.
I agree that it was a good thing for them, but I think the big pinnacle, like Jansen just kind of said, was that if it wasn't working out, they could choose someone else, or they could go with the lady that was in charge of helping everybody get along and for it to all work out. You know, that they could switch, or that they could opt to get out of the program at that time because it wasn't working. I would hate to be stuck with some of the people I've worked with that just don't care about anybody but themselves and making themselves look good. And so, you know, it's important. The mentee or the mentor has to be a certain kind of person that wants to share and isn't just doing it to look good in front of the bosses, I think.
Yeah.
I've had some of those. So. All right. We are almost done.
Jensen made a couple comments on the side. If the mentor or mentee can choose between a few different people, I think that would bring the best results. That's true.
It might cause some conflict if I'm not chosen, Jansen. I'll be like, what? I'm the best at it. Choose me. But yeah, I see that. That's kind of nice. Like if I was a male, I may not want to be with a female, or vice versa. Especially if he's good looking, I would opt out. No temptations. Okay, next question. Why would a company want to create a formal mentoring program rather than allowing the relationship to form naturally?
New message is received from Tom One's phone.
Because like I said at the bus barn, I just kind of attached myself to my trainer because he was ex-military and he was just an amazing person that had such integrity that I wanted to get to know him better. And he was somebody that I knew would give me the straight answers that I needed and not go running to the boss and tell him what bad things I did. So I liked being able to go and find him and pick him. You know, but if I was assigned to someone for a certain period of time, that would be fine because I could still pick him to actually go talk to as well, right? You can have more than one mentor. But do you think that 1 year was a little excessive? Or too long, or not long enough?
That's a good question. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I'd be interested to see what kind of results they saw after 6 months. And then if that next 6 months really made that big of a difference.
Yeah, experiment with it a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jansen doesn't know enough information to know how long it should take.
Because I mean, it was definitely the first round was definitely really beneficial. So I don't know. I feel like you'd have to have a couple of trial rounds with different lengths to really have a good idea of which one. Maybe which one's too long, which one's not long enough. So I agree that there's just not enough information.
Can you think of any improvements they could make in the program?
That is hard to say. I mean, I don't remember really reading any issues with the program. it seems like everything we read was all positive information.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was great. I mean, I thought even above and beyond in a lot of ways. The big luncheon at the end and having the president come in and talk to the mentors and give them gift card or gift certificates and things to thank them for their service. I was really impressed with all that they did to support the program, and having that one lady that was kind of the person in the middle, she ended up just doing that full time, just devoting all her time to helping.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that. Jansen just wrote something.
He says to have the option to choose a different mentor or mentee, like you mentioned, in case of an uncomfortable situation.
Yeah, I think that they kind of did have that with the lady that was working in between, or she would work out the issues. Like there was that one example of the person that wanted to quit, and then the other mentors said no, or mentees said no, go talk to her about it, and she did, and they ended up working things out and getting along great.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure.
Uh-oh, did she freeze for anybody else?
Oh, can you hear me?
Oh, now you're back.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. When the mentee was, what was I gonna say? Now my brain froze.
Uh-oh.
All right, never mind. Let's move on. Why do you think less people signed up for the second round?
I don't know for sure, but I know that they said that they didn't market it nearly as much as the first time. And so I think that probably had something to do with it. Maybe a lot of people weren't aware that they were doing it again.
Yeah,
And that's about the only thing I can think of, is that they didn't market it near as much because they were afraid they'd have too many people, but they ended up having almost not enough.
Yeah, and it didn't say what marketing they did use. It just said that they didn't market it or advertise it as much. So, and they did such a good job in the beginning of advertising it by having those 3 meetings and having the lunchroom sit down thing and having things in their emails and pamphlets that went out. And they just went over the top trying to make sure that everyone was aware and that they got as much volunteering as they could. And I just don't know what they did, but less. They said less. Is there any other reason that you think they might not have? Maybe like one of the mentors mentioned that he had signed up out of obligation. Maybe they didn't have as much of that because the ones that signed up out of obligation already had signed up.
Yeah. It seems like they're not giving us enough information to really answer that one fully.
Agreed. So what do you think they could do to get more applicants other than more advertising? At the banquet, the only thing I could think of was at the banquet at the end, they put up those big boards that had testimonials on them. I thought putting those up around the company would have been a great idea so people could see, wow, they got promoted and they love their job more. And, maybe those types of things might have gotten their attention more.
I think they did. Somebody put up cards up in the break room. I think it was those, or some kind of cards. I don't know. Seems like they did something, but I don't know. If they're like me, when I walk into our break room, I don't look at stuff on the boards. I just walk right past it and I don't sit there and stare at it. I think it just needs a different way of advertising it.
We're required to look on the boards for anything like new bus rules, new policies. If one of the managers needs to see you, your name is big and bright up there on the wall.
Oh, nice.
It's so nice. And yeah, that's such a joy to see your name up there next to the assistant coordinator's name, you know. Oh, I did something, didn't I? Everybody, hey.
Uh-oh.
But yeah, we're required to check the board daily to see if there's any kind of announcements or things that we need to know about. I mean, we're held responsible for that.
Huh. And maybe that's a common practice. It's just not where I work. I don't know.
Okay, let's move on. Do you think that they would have gotten more applicants if they had just signed people up, not made it voluntary anymore? And if so, would that have been a positive or negative thing?
Oh, I think that would have been negative. People would have been defensive about things right from the get-go. They wouldn't want to be very helpful. They'd be doing it just because they have to, and they wouldn't be trying the hardest to really help somebody out.
I agree. What do you think, Michael?
I think so too. I think always if people being assigned, you'll have larger numbers because there's always people who just don't, maybe aren't outgoing enough or just don't want to do it. So I think assigning people again would be a good idea.
But
I would, and is also.
Some people, it seems like, really need a mentor. They would never sign up themselves, but they really need one. They're very shy. They're very standoffish from the rest of the group. They're really not seeming invested in what they're doing. Maybe having that you have to do it for at least 3 months or something might get them going, and then the option to extend.
Yeah, I think it'd be maybe a good idea for managers or supervisors to have the opportunity to say, okay, this person below me, I think they could benefit a lot from this program. And maybe they could assign them to that program. I think that would be a good idea, giving managers in the company the ability to assign their employees to the program.
It could be considered a form of evaluation, but a mentor-mentee form of evaluation, right?
Yeah, or even part of their training, just their ongoing company training.
Yeah. Jansen, what did you write? It flashed too fast.
He said, I agree with you, Dee Dee. That is a great idea. I think it would have been negative as well. Forcing people to sign up would not be a good idea. Side note, Dee Dee, your kitchen looks like an industrial kitchen and not your typical home kitchen, which is cool.
Yes, it does. Okay, next question was, let's see, we kind of answered that one. How can they encourage people who really need mentoring to get mentoring? How do you think they could encourage them?
Uh-oh. I think just like you and Michael were saying, being able to have a supervisor sign them up and make it part of their continuing training.
I need my grandma.
Is she frozen for you guys too? Okay.
maybe kissing up a little. When people kiss up to me, I'm more likely to do something. You have so much potential. You have so many talents. We can see them. Will you please get into this program? Because
Uh-oh. Oh, Jansen, that's a good point about having shame in the program. I agree. You shouldn't feel awkward about it.
Hello? Am I back? Hello?
Yeah, you're back.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
awesome.
I can hear you now.
Okay, great. All right. So where were we? This group meeting is not going as our. I know, it's better, right? It's much more exciting. All right, let's move on. Okay, so how how do they get enough people to mentor? And I need to write this down. How do they get enough people to mentor? Just throw out all those answers.
I think there needs to be some incentive thrown out for them, because I don't think you're going to get enough people just wanting to do it out of the goodness of their heart. There's got to be, unfortunately, there's got to be some kind of a motive for doing it.
Agreed.
Yeah, I agree with you. In the last one, I think they said they gave them gift cards.
Yeah.
At like a breakfast or lunch or something. And then, so I think that, you know, like you were saying, Melanie, just, you know, give them an incentive, whether it's gift cards or, I don't know, maybe something within the company.
Yeah.
I don't know what it could be, but I like the idea of incentives.
Anything else?
Jansen says, I
think some supervisors or managers should have a brief meeting with some of the people they manage and encourage them to do the program.
That's a good one.
That is good.
Yeah, so Jensen thinks encouragement from your supervisors.
I wouldn't want to be mentored by my supervisor, though.
I don't think you could. It had to be like 2 pay grades. It couldn't be someone too close to you.
You know, I think throwing a party for them, too, would be fun. Like, the incentive that they have in bus driving in Canada is that they have a $200 cash and a big banquet to show them how great they are if they have no accidents and they attend all the safety meetings. So something like that to show appreciation for all that they've done, cash and recognition.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay, so Do you have a favorite approach? Some of these questions are so ridiculous.
Well, it seems like they keep asking the same thing over and over, just wording it different.
Yes. All right. So wrapping it up, did you learn anything from this? Can you apply it in your own companies and what you're doing or in the future that you can think of?
Yeah, I think so. I think this kind of builds from last lesson when it talked about, new hires and how to help them feel integrated. I think this would be a good way to integrate new hires, because it said like the hiring process wasn't done until they were actually fully integrated like into the company and felt welcomed. So I think this would be a good idea, maybe for people who are new hires, make it mandatory that they get a mentor.
So this is something, if you owned your own company, this is something you think you would want to do?
I think so. Maybe not to the extent that they did it, because I don't think, if I did own my own company, I don't think I'd have the resources to spend as much time and resources on it. But I think I would definitely take some of the key points from it. I think especially with new hires or someone who maybe people who aren't really integrating as well as they need to be, I think it'd be a great idea. Help them network within the company and feel more welcome.
Yeah, especially in such a big company. Like I said, I wouldn't, especially if I'd only been there a year or two. I mean, and they did require that you'd been there for a year, but you've kind of met everybody you're going to meet that's new. And then after that, you kind of stop introducing yourself and you just think, well, I don't want to introduce myself now. It's been too long. And it's a good way to get to know each other. And I think the value that they felt like they were important in the company, that they were worth the extra money and time to continue to educate and inform about the possibilities and the programs that are offered and all the different positions in the company that are available. I mean, I think we got like the supreme example, like, I don't see a whole lot of companies going to that extent, but I think we saw the best that you can do it almost. And we could kind of take from that what we could use. And if I ever become director of the bus barn, I think I'm going to use it. I think it's better than training, because if I've been to a lot of safety meetings and training meetings and everybody kind of talks to each other and zones out and they don't really listen, but this is one-on-one. And you're saying, hey, how are you doing on this? And, I've learned this from what I've been doing. And this might be another approach that you'd want to know how to handle the kids. After watching you did a great job. This is something else that I've learned through the years that you might want to start to use and that, might be beneficial running your student management on the bus. I think it would be really beneficial in the bus barn. Jensen, can you think of any way you could use it?
I think he's typing.
He's just nodding. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Melanie, can you think of any way? I mean, has this been a beneficial training-wise for you?
I do like Michael's idea about having it be for new hires. Our company's so small that we definitely couldn't do a big formal deal like this. But there's always something you can learn from other people, I think. But for me personally, I can't think of anything. I'm just in a unique situation at my work where I can't go to somebody else and bounce ideas off of them unless it's the president of the company. So I'm in a unique spot.
All right. Jansen, you have the final word? Oh, this is going to be a doozy. This is going to be good, you guys. The anticipation.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, it disappeared. Michael,
It says they basically do this at my work already for training on any position. There is a DE FAM qual, which stands for demonstrate, familiarize, and qualify. Demonstration part, the mentor teaches the mentee how to run and operate certain equipment. Then the mentor and mentee work together. Lastly, the mentee shows the mentor how to do the task, and they can then qualify for the position.
I like that. That's awesome to end on. Thank you, Jansen and Michael. All right. Are we good?
Yep.
Have a good week, you guys. I'm going to go do the baking thing and accounting tonight.
Yeah. Round 2.
Yes. Yes, businesses, you know, sole proprietorship, partnerships, corporations, S corps, LLCs. I'm an LLC, Divinity Cakes, LLC.
Nice.
Yeah. So this all kind of ties in, which is super cool. All my classes are kind of coming together.
Cool.
All right, you guys. Next week, who's in charge?
I am.
Oh, okay, Melanie is. And I did some work on the doohickey. I went ahead and wrote the initial paragraph for last week. I may change it based on your solutions, but I did write out a few solutions. Melanie, I know you added one additional just in case, something about policy. I added that on 3 and one that I thought of. So Michael and Jansen, look on the doohickey for last week and look about the standardizing for hiring practices and see what you think. And then for this week, I went ahead and wrote out a couple of solutions, and I wrote down the problem, which is training. There was no training at doohickey for the HR person, and there was not standardized training or any kind of training that got everybody on the same page. I put the quotes on the doohickey from the case so that you could see exactly what I was seeing. I'm not supposed to write that paragraph, so I just put the quotes. If we can.
I went in, I used your quotes. I went in and wrote the paragraph today.
You did.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right, so we only have one more week, and then we have to turn that in the end of next week.
Yeah.
So if Michael and Jansen can get on it, then we should be in good shape next week to just write the beginning and ending paragraphs and pick our key problem, and we'll be done.
Yay.
Sounds good.
Okay, so check it out. It's on Google Docs, just like it was before, same place. All right, when you have time. Meanwhile, you know, I'll try to keep up with whatever's next week as well. All right?
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks, guys. Have a great week. I will see you next week.
Okay, bye.
Yep, see ya.
You guys are so silly.
Okay, Mom.